Well, people, here it is. Here's my new camera. I know you can hear better because I've checked it. Cheers. So now comes the part of just getting used to the new camera. No big deal. You can see more of the room. There's my old window air conditioner. There's my trusty old USB turntable. The good turntable's out in the other room. Yeah, I have a space heater in the room right now. It's not on. I've learned from experience where to place the space heater safely in this room of vinyl. I learned the hard way. Cheers, people. It is Friday, the 15th of September. And Stephanie, if you watch this, with Adrian and Floyd, hello. They're all in Marceline, Missouri or Kansas. Some little town down there that has something to do with Walt Disney. And they just love Floyd Norman, my brother-in-law, who was with Disney forever. First black man to work as an animator for Walt Disney Studios. He's 88. He's a living legend. Very, very literally, he is a living legend. So I hope you guys are having a good time. I saw the pictures on Instagram. Looks like you're staying at a nice place. They were trying to get me to drive down there and meet them, and I'm at a point where I'm not that interested in traveling in the world, and I'm definitely not interested in driving for hours like I used to. Not on the roads these days. No. So since you can see more of the room here, starting up there, that's D all the way on the wall, D through R. Down here is R into S. And what's behind me is all S's. And then on the wall, not that wall, but this wall over here, is the end of S into T, U, V, W, X, and then Y, Z is out in the hallway. Oh, cheers, people. Hey, this coffee is tasting good this morning. I got a bunch more going out. Thank you, people, for the response. I have to let you folks overseas know that I'm not going to ask a favor of Discus Music. Martin Archer was kind enough to do that as a favor of me to carry some of my the Muse CDs in Europe so you all could buy them without all the ridiculous postage and customs. Well, that was a favor that he was willing to do. When I asked him, he explained that Discus is about his work, and everything that he releases is stuff that he is personally part of. So he did that as a favor for me, but I don't feel inclined to ask him again because I understand that's not the nature of his business. I'm very sorry that the situation is as it is, that it is so difficult to send parcels overseas, that they charge you, then they charge you again. I'm really sorry about that. So there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, it's like if I hear about a potential distribution deal for overseas that doesn't screw me, I'll go for it. But I'm not going to ask Discus, as I explained. That was a favor they did. People should start receiving their CDs today and in the next few days. I just got a note from a lady in Omaha who got hers already and thanked me profusely. And thank you folks who have sent notes about the music that you've listened. It's a soundtrack for living. It's not entertainment. This music reflects for me an atmosphere that I want to live in. I create it through my music. This is from the CD. We'll see how the sound quality is on this camera. See, there's even a soundtrack quality to some of the music. I'll talk about some other music, but just let me get this out. I don't call my music progressive rock. It's not, but it has elements from where I was influenced by progressive rock, that it can be considered in the prog vein in some ways, as much as electronica soundtrack. In my own mind, I've been trying to think, well, it's kind of emerged to me who, in my mind, I would compare my music to in a way, not sonically, but where it's kind of coming from. And for me, it's Bo Hansen. You know, and when some of you folks who know Bo Hansen's music will say, really? It's not the sound of my music that I'm comparing to Bo Hansen. It's the way that music is coming out of him and me. It's instrumental. It's not about relationships. It's not about singing a song to someone. It's about making this musical landscape to live in. This music really does help me cope with where I live. It does. Yeah. Cinematic. It's like when I look out my window here, I don't see this. I see this in my mind where I'm seeing a wide vista, a big sky like in Montana. And I'm feeling powerful and in charge of my life. That's what this music is about. It's about being a winner, not a loser. Which is why I don't want to listen to the blues. I don't want to listen to the blues, bluesing and feeling bad and shit. But I hear it every day because of Ray. You know, I sure do. Bless him. It's just now going on 8 o'clock, so we may not hear Ray. He sometimes is up this early. It depends, you know. Usually he's up and out by 9. So I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm not going to run out to the post office right this moment after making the video. I'm going to wait and see if anyone this morning decides to purchase my new CD. I'm real proud of this, people. Interlude. And yes, the cover design is inspired by ECM aesthetics. My music does not sound like an ECM record, but in my mind, I deserve to be on a label like that. So here I am presenting myself as such. It's self-respect. Okay, that's what it's about. Sitting here is something I played before I went to bed last night instead of Slow Dive, although I did play Slow Dive when I went to bed. Pale Saints, Half-Life. I do have this on vinyl. Another 4AD band. Another what they call shoegaze band. They have interesting melodies. And I like that choir boy type of voice. I sure do. I do. But I like this music where it's like, it's not so obvious where it's coming from melodically. It's like, it's not obviously a folk reference. It's not obviously an American reference or blues. And actually, that's in some of my music too. A classical reference, if anything. Classical music, okay? I like that. Okay, so let's just keep talking about music in general. You know, I showed you that I found this recently, bought it. It's a reissue of this rare Australian album, well, two of them. Yarandu and Hara by Rob Tomsit. I played the Hara album yesterday. This is very good. It's rough recording. It's like it's cheaply recorded, but these guys were making, see this camera. We'll just have to get used to the way that it does the auto. This is really good. It's on the fusion and esoteric side of music. It's instrumental. I like it very, very much. It's a good one. Oh boy, this color going from yellow to the way it does the auto. Sorry, I'm going to have to get used to that, even though it was like that on the other camera, but it seems more pronounced on this one. So, just to keep going for a minute here. So this is my S's. Exactly which S's are right here? Get that out the way. It's off. Right here is stuff like, okay, I'll just pull. Okay, so this area here, this area is interesting, okay? So this is McCloud Schultz, SCH. Rest in peace, Klaus. This is the last thing by him I played is Time Wind. It's really good. Picture music. What's next? Dieter Schutz on the Lifestyle label. More of that atmospheric keyboard-oriented music. Dieter Schutz. What's next? This one was given to me by John Coltrane, 68. Siggy Schwab, German guitarist who I know of through his work with Wolfgang Downer and some other prog stuff. But this is an early album of his. Yeah, it's water damage, but this is hard to find. Fabulous guitar from Bach to Almeida with voice and orchestra. That's what's next. This is interesting. So I don't know if this person's still around. Glenn Schwartz, who was in the James Gang. This happened years ago. It was rather bizarre. If you're watching, Glenn, please don't be insulted. I'm just telling the true story. He got a hold of me. And the letter was a little odd. But he said he had this rare test pressing of his record that still isn't out that he wanted me to have. And he raved about it like it was the greatest things since sliced toast. And to test pressing, Glenn Schwartz. And this is odd. To me, it sounds like a record where the person is more in their head than in reality about this music. He can play, but it's just very strange and all over the place. This is probably one of the more rare records that I have. It's unreleased. I have actually looked since then. I ought to look now. Last time I looked, there was nothing on the market about this record. I ought to play it again. Maybe it'll make more sense now. It's been years since I played it. That's one of the oddities in my collection. I've got a few things like that are pretty rare, obviously. John Scofield, Blue Matter. Love this guitarist. Love his work. Still Warm. Both of these albums are really good. Matter of fact, this one has a favorite of mine, The Nag. The Nag is on this one. Find that on YouTube and play it if you have The Nag, Like a Horse by John Scofield. It's badass. Here we go. Haven't played this in a long time. This is a folk artist from England who had heavy friends, Colin Scott. Took me a long time to actually enjoy this record because at first wasn't getting into his songs. I bought it because Peter Gabriel's on here, Peter Hamill, members of Renaissance, other members of prog rock bands. It took a while. Night People was the first song where I said, oh, that's kind of proggy. But, as I, matured in my taste and understanding of music, this is a good album, and it is what it is. Gil Scott-Heron, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. Seminal, important work. All you have to do is replace some of the references to things that were happening at that time with things happening now, and this album is totally relevant. The revolution will not be televised. Humankind will be compromised by the television. That's what's happened. We don't even know what's real now. Everybody's saying this is fake, that's fake, and can't make sense of nothing. Very important work. Here's another one, The Mind of Gil Scott-Heron. Is the bottle on here? I have that on the single. The single, The Bottle, where he waxes poetic about addiction. Strong man, strong mind, important work. Some more important work. The band that Dave Grohl was in before he joined Nirvana. He's not on this album, though. Scream, Discord. Okay. DC area. Interracial band really meant a lot to me when I found out about this. The singer. I have their single that Dave Grohl is on, drums on. This is monster. Screaming, still screaming. This is monster. The energy on here and what they're singing about came without warning. Came without warning. This is... Okay, I gotta do this. RAF, Scream. There is a real direct line of influence and energy coming from hardcore punk from DC, West Coast, all over the world, and RAF. We keep the energy. We're not a bunch of old farts. We keep it vital. So, I know a lot of y'all don't have this album, and you ought to get it. You ought to get the record. you do. It's badass. So there's Scream, and then there's Screams. And this is this the end of the 70s or early 80s? I have this album mainly because of association. Brad Elvis. His original name is Brad's, it's interesting. Drummer from this is in this band from Illinois. They were trying to make it big, they got on this label Infinity. I got to play with Brad Elvis. He was in the Elvis Brothers, and then more recently he was in the Romantics. He was their drummer for 15, 16 years. What I Like About You. But I got hired to record with him for this Danish artist in Chicago, Kleeman. I have the record out there. And Brad and I got on to like a house on fire. Great guy. Turns out that he had worked for a short time with Gary Green from Gentle Giant, all these little connections. This is a hard rock album, and this is back in the days of the beginnings of Van Halen and early Journey. Not hair metal. FM hard rock is what I call it. So that's why I have this album. Friendship. We still talk. That's Brad right there. We converse pretty regularly through the internet. Really enjoyed him, and when I worked with him, he took me to his house, met his wife. He had a hidden wall. He had a wall where he had his collection hidden behind this wall. It was so cool. He'd moved the wall back, and it was like this, but one wall was all the way up to the ceiling with 45s. Mind-blowing. Okay. This might be a surprise to some, shouldn't be. Scritti Politti, Cupid and Psyche 85. Badass pop album. Wonderful songwriting. Interesting band, how they come from the DIY punk ethos and then moved into the mainstream. It had that big hit, Perfect Way. It's a very good song. I love all the songs on here, and I love the arrangements. Would-Be's. I have most of the singles from that record because that shit is good. And then before they hit big, The Word Girl. I've got more. This is just what I pulled, okay? Good stuff. Green Guardside as a person is interesting, and I've watched some interviews with him where he talks about his trajectory in the pop world, and hip hop, and what he's tried to do, trying to discover his own identity. This is good stuff. So that's some stuff back there in the S's. So this is about the time I usually try to keep the videos at about 20 minutes or less. One more time, people. I'm going to wait before I run off to the post office this morning to see if I get any orders. I'd love that. I'd love to send you my new CD. It's not a CDR. It's a compact disc. It's a silver compact disc. Okay, it's the real deal. What's that on my disc? Super proud of this. It's juicy. There's not a bad track. There's a lot to listen to on here. Okay, seriously. Pick up on it, okay? Grab a copy. And have a good weekend.